What a month, right? For those of you who are just tuning in, I just finished up a month of what I called Plan As You Go, where I spent the entire month every day showing how I use my Erin Condren and my bullet journal together in tandem. That's how I plan normally. I showed it for a whole month. I missed 2 days in the month, both because I was sick. One day I managed to go live and just chit chat, and the other day I was like, fuck it. I've never done that before. I once before did a week of Plan As You Go, but this was a whole fucking month, and it was the first month of the year. So I thought it would be a good idea to kind of reflect back on it and to answer some questions about it. And so I have some questions that I'm going to answer, and I'm going to kind of divide them up because they sort of go into two sort of buckets. One is about my planning system, how I like it, where I got it from, do I recommend it, and how I actually use it. And the other bucket is what it was like to actually make this series of videos and film this many videos. So I'm going to answer the questions about my planning style first, and hopefully within that reflect a little bit about my planning style. And then secondly, I will address the questions about the logistics of a series like this and reflect on what it has done for me as a YouTube creator. So let's get started, shall we? So the first couple questions we're gonna look at kind of talk about the same thing. Mindy says, why do you use two planners? The weekly and monthly spreads you do in the EC can easily go into your bullet journal, and then you would only have one planner. And the second question that's kind of tangential to that is Stacy asking if the system has made me more productive than before using it, and why I feel that. Do I recommend this kind of combination for planning? The reason I use the Erin Condren and the bullet journal instead of just drawing in the Erin Condren style, I'm lazy. I don't want to draw in a weekly layout every week and a monthly layout that had the way it shows in the Erin Condren. The visualness of the monthly in the Erin Condren and the week in the Erin, both of those two layouts, the weekly layout, the monthly layout in the Erin Condren hourly neutral, really work for me visually to look at things in blocks. The bullet journal works a lot better for me as like a listing. Now it may change. I may decide to incorporate those kinds of layouts into my bullet journal, but right now it is so much easier for me to just pick up that, throw some stickers in it, look at it in blocks, and then head to the bullet journal for lists. I use them both fairly equally in terms of time. It just depends on what it is I'm working on at the moment. Has it made me more productive? What I have discovered, and this is also going to kind of go into reflecting on this last month, I'm not sure about if it makes me more productive, but it makes me feel like I have a little bit more clarity on what I should be working on. By using these two things, by thinking I'm going to give myself this amount of time to do tasks related to YouTube or work or whatever, and then making that list in the bullet journal, if I look at the list and the block and I realize that my list and that block are not congruent with each other, it helps me kind of stop and think, okay, maybe I'm a little bit more ambitious. It really speaks to both sides of my brain, the side that's like creative and out there and loves seeing things visually, and the side that's like really just wants to make sure that I get everything listed so that I can see every single step. And doing it this way with these two kind of separate styles of planning, like in the same time with each other, really does help me feel a little bit more put together and more confident, which then makes me more productive because I can head into my day not feeling like a chicken with my head cut off, even though, to be fair, that also happens all the time too. I think that's just my nature. Now, would I recommend this system to somebody else? That depends. It depends on what you want. Like, I can't say for certain who you are or what you like doing. You might be someone who likes this idea but would rather just draw them into your bullet journal. I've seen plenty of people do that. I tend to be someone who both needs visual stimulation as well as like the catharsis of making lists. I also tend to fall down the rabbit hole of beautiful bullet journal layouts on Instagram and Pinterest. And what I found is if I spend all of my time drawing in layouts in my bullet journal, I get lost in the process of making the layouts and I sort of lose the process of making the lists. By having them already put together in the Erin Condren for the visual aspect of it, I can go and like be like la 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 and be all done with that and then move forward and not get kind of drowned in all of the inspiration that's out there. My suggestion is if you want to give it a try, but if you don't want to invest the money on buying another planner and you could try drawing them in your bullet journal. And if you find that the drawing in is kind of the pain in the ass, but you like the layouts, then maybe you should look into finding a planner that kind of matches that and use them together. It's kind of a cop-out answer, but it's the one that I have. I swear I have a little hair of something underneath my glasses and it is driving me batshit. Only Marin asked, do you plan in just those two planners or do you have other planners for other uses? If so, what other planners do you use and what do you use them for, if that makes sense? It does make sense. I did a video at the end of December talking about my planner system, which I will link somewhere in in the space up above my head. But ultimately, most of my planning, like the planning happens in those two planners. I have other planners for specific uses. Like I have one for tracking goals regarding like money and finances. I have a budget book that I still haven't started using yet. I use a monthly calendar for different pieces of things. But when it comes to my daily planning, it's those two. That's pretty much what I go with. But yeah, watch that video if you really want to see the breakdown of the things that I'm using right now. Caitlin asked if I have a preference between the Erin Condren and the bullet journal. Honestly, right now, coming off of this month, I actually don't. I actually really appreciate what each is bringing to me. They both work so well together for me that I can't separate them, if that makes sense. I feel more productive when I focus more on my bullet journal, and I feel more creative when I focus on my Erin Condren. Together, they make up the whole that is Cindy. Angela asked if I've ever thought about using the Erin Condren bullet journal, and I'm assuming you mean like the little hardbound notebook, and I know they have the dot grid one now. The only ones I have of those so far are the lined ones, and I've not used them for that purpose. I might consider it, but I'm pretty sure my next bullet journal is going to be another Scribbles That Matter because I have been very, very happy with it. And I don't want to go through all the bullshittery of having to do what I had to do when I moved from the Right Planner Company book to the Scribbles That Matter, where I had to figure out what's the new size for my time tracker, what's the new size for this or that. And like, it pissed me off. So I don't know if I'm prepared to go through that again. I might just do another chunk in the same kind of notebook. Profi Plans asked if I carry my planners with me in real life. No. Part of that is because I have nerve pain in my neck and shoulder from when I was working at Trader Joe's, and it's stuck around even now, like a year and a half later. Carrying too much shit on my shoulder is bad news. But I what I do is, depending on what the thing that I'm going to is, if I need to have my planner with me, I take the one that feels most appropriate. When I go to meetings where I need to know about dates and things like that, I bring my Erin Condren because my monthly calendar in my Erin Condren, like the monthly spreads in my neutral, are the ones that I use to really look at my whole life. It's where my custody is marked out for the next year. It's where all of my trips are planned out, so I can use that to choose dates if I need to give input on when we're gonna like schedule the next meeting or something. When it comes to me going somewhere where I expect to take a lot of notes, I'll take the bullet journal because that's the thing I like to take notes in. So it just depends on the occasion. If I take a planner with me somewhere, it's usually just one of the two, if that makes sense. Now, Gail said that she has kids that she splits custody with, and she would love some tips on how to use her bullet journal to manage custody and things like that, because there's a lot that goes into it. And for those of you who don't know, I share custody of my kids. I have 50% custody, and I have them every other week. I don't know if I can give a lot of great tips in this video, except to say that the greatest thing that I ever figured out was using washi tape to mark out the weeks I have custody as far in advance as I know it, because it makes planning out a lot easier. If you would like, I can do a whole video talking about managing your kids' schedules and planning if you share custody. I can totally do that, but I feel like that's a really big topic to kind of try and tackle in a video where I'm talking about all sorts of different things like this. While it throws a lot of monkey wrenches at you, one of the most valuable things that's ever happened to me in terms of scheduling with having, sharing custody is like getting the routines figured out and like sticking to them as much as you possibly can. The stability of routine, it's great for the kids, it's great for you, it's great for your planning. And, shit happens and you can't always do that. Focusing on routine is very, 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 very important and helpful. But if you are interested in a video talking about how to use your planners to help understand custody, let me know down in the comments. And the last question that I think relates to actual planning rather than how I filmed the videos is, where do I get my stickers? I am actually kind of a stuck in my habits kind of rut person. I don't explore outwards very often. Most of the stickers I get come from Chrissy Ann Designs, Once More with Love. Those two are the main ones. The Simply Gilded stickers that come with the box, the Planner Society stickers that come with the kits, those ones also factor into it, but the two kind of main people I use stickers from are Once More with Love and Chrissy Ann Designs. Once I find a sticker, like a color palette, a style that I love, I like zero in on that. I am not somebody who tends to explore and dabble in all sorts of different things. I know what I like, and when I find it, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm sticking to that. I'm not always the best person for finding new and upcoming sticker people because I just am not very adventurous when it comes to stickers. Now we're going to get into the section of this video where I talk about the logistics and what it's like to film planner videos and to film this month of planner videos. So the first question comes from My Crafty Plans, and she asks, when I'm not filming, do I use this style of videos? Do I mostly sit down and do it all at once per day like this, or do I use the planners throughout the day. I actually do it the way I show it in the video. I go back to my planners and use them throughout the day, which I did this past month, and that's why I would show like things I've checked off or whatever. But generally speaking, in the morning when I get up, one of the first things I do is I sit down, look at my planners, get my day figured out. There are some times when I know I need to get going really early in the morning that I'll do it in the night before, but almost always it's me getting up, getting a cup of coffee, sitting down, dealing with my planner. The biggest thing that happened with this series is that I wound up having to kind of push it to a little bit later in the morning than getting right up because of the way the sunlight was coming through my windows. I couldn't film without having to try and figure out how to cover the entire fucking back window with poster board or something. And that kind of threw a monkey wrench in things. I touch both my planners. I touch them multiple times per day. Now, I got several questions about whether or not I was going to do this again. Yes, I am going to do this again. However, I do need to make a little reflection on doing this again. When I film my normal videos, my normal schedule that I have been at for at least, I want to say 7 or 8 months, is 5 days per week. I put videos up Monday through Friday with the occasional videos up on Sunday when it's a live stream. It's planner videos, there'll be lettering videos in there, there'll be art videos, pen reviews, all sorts of things. And the schedule I plan on sticking to for right now is going back to 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, videos at all those days, and then with the occasional live streams on Sundays. When I'm doing pen reviews or favorites or whatever, I can generally batch film. I can actually film 2 or 3 videos in a sitting and then edit them over the course of the next day or two and get them up so I can kind of get ahead of schedule. I can't do that with Plan With Me's or bullet journal setups because I do those in real time. But with everything else, I can get ahead of schedule. So it makes things a little bit more manageable. The thing that happened this month with me doing this Plan As You Go series where I was legitimately showing you how I plan every single day is that every morning I would get up and I would plan, and then I would spend the time to edit it and get it uploaded and get the thumbnail and all the things, which is a good 3-hour process at the minimum. Right? That basically took up a chunk of my morning every single day. And I didn't realize going into this just how kind of grueling that would be. Not that it was bad. It was just, it should have occurred to me, but it didn't. I didn't think about it. Like, oh, film a video every single day, get it uploaded every single day. Because I wasn't in the habit of filming and uploading that same day, every single day, I wasn't quite aware of what the scheduling would look like. And it took a little while. Being sick for most of this month didn't help that either. It's not something I can do all the time because it does basically consume my month. Basically, and I would on the weekends when my kids were home, I'm like, you guys need to shut your fucking mouths because I gotta get here and do this filming. Husband, turn the video games down, use your fucking headphones. And they're like, oh yeah, sorry mom, now I have to go play video games for an hour and a half. Why don't you twist our arms? Why don't you? It can get a little bit intense. So I will be doing it again, and I plan on doing it at least one more time this year. If not, my husband was like, maybe you should do it quarterly. And I'm like, oh, balls. A, I don't know if I could handle that. And B, I don't know if you guys would want it. How often would you like me to do it? Would you like it quarterly? Quarterly is probably the most I could handle, and even that might be a little bit much. So let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments because I'm curious and I'm kind of terrified. And as I'm scrolling, I see Tammy's question. She asks about what it was like to film every single day. I kind of answered that right now. Normally when I film, because I try and batch film, I do that at the front of the week when I can film my Plan With Me, my bullet journal, and batch film. And then all the lights and everything come down and my desk just looks like a desk and doesn't look like a filming setup. This filming setup has been up the entire month. And so I'm kind of excited about being able to break that down because it's in the middle of my living room. My desk is in my living room. So just in that, it was like, holy shit. But I will tell you, one of the bonuses that came out of this, I am getting more and more confident with editing and with being able to edit quickly. If there is one thing that repeating the same thing every single day for a whole month does, it helps you get better at it. That was really fun for me. It was really fun for me to be able to get better at filming and editing and being able to do it faster, but not sacrifice, except for the few times when I scared the shit out of you guys in that one video because I accidentally copied over the sound effect. And I still apologize for that. The other thing I've discovered also is that it really helped me reflect on my planning style. I would, when you're planning every day, just at your desk planning every day, that's one thing. When you're talking about it while you're doing it and kind of contemplating out loud with an audience that's not actually there at the moment but will be there, it forces you to kind of really think about what you're doing and really think about whether or not it's a good idea or why you're doing it. And doing that for a whole month and doing it every single day, that helped me really, really, really think about my planning process. So maybe I could recommend to you guys, even if you don't film YouTube videos, talk out loud what you're doing, especially if people are home, because they'll be like, what the yuck? That was probably one of the most unexpected bonuses. 2 unexpected bonuses. The way that it made me feel like I was getting stronger at my actual filming and editing skills, and the way it made me feel a lot more attached and excited about the planning process. Like, I didn't get sick of it over the month. That's the thing. I was worried I was going to get sick of it through the month. And instead what it did was it reignited how I feel about these planners. Now, I kind of addressed this already, but Emily asked, are you usually planning during the morning or the night before? I do it in the morning during the series. Was that what I usually do? Do I have a specific time, or is it activity based, like always after breakfast? I kind of addressed that already, but I'll mention it just one more time. Usually it's like when I get up in the morning and I'm having a cup of coffee, like first thing in the morning, unless I get up, I usually get up, make my bed, get a cup of coffee, come sit down with my planners. If it's a morning I have my kids and they're getting ready for school, I may not sit down with my planner until after they leave, depending on if they need me to like keep an eye on them and be like, motherfucker, get your fucking coat. It depends, but generally it's first thing in the morning, and often I'll touch it over the course of the day. And then at night, before I go to bed, I will usually go back and take a look at it one more time to kind of mentally prepare myself for the next morning. And that's kind of all of the questions. I think that sort of covered everything I wanted to reflect upon for this series. Ultimately, I loved doing it, and I will be doing it again. I can't tell you for sure when that's going to be. I got to think about that, but I promise you it will happen again. And until then, I will still be doing bullet journal setups and plan with me's and all the other regular videos. But like I said earlier, leave down in the comments how often you'd like to see this. When would you get sick of it? Like, seriously, because part of me didn't even think this was going to be popular, and it wound up being really popular. Like, a lot of people seem to like it. I'm kind of blown away by that. So I'd like to know your thoughts on how often you'd like to see this, or what you got out of it, or whatever the case may be. Or you could be like, Cindy, but I would really like to hear you talk about felt tip pens or something. You know, let me know down in the comments. I want to thank everybody who stuck around, who watched these videos, people who found my channel through these videos. Like, it's been exciting, and I expect to do it again, but just not this month. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.